It's already over, I know. I'm just gonna say this. I'm grateful for last year's championship. I'm grateful for the championships I've seen in the past with Shaq and Kobe. This was when I started watching basketball, or with Kobe and Gasol. I'm forever grateful for that. So I know, I've been spoiled. And yeah, I changed my stuff because I was repping the championship gear from last year, and they don't look like champions at all. They look like chumps. I'm not gonna rep the team's gear right now because they don't deserve it. Not with the way they're playing, and hey, they're finally starting to show up, but yeah, too late now. The Suns already got this, so I'm just gonna say congratulations to the Suns. And I said it before the series began that I think that whoever wins this series is going to be who wins the Western Conference. And yeah, I think that the Suns should be able to make it to the Western Conference Finals this year. I think that I think that I might even pick them over the Jazz if they face each other in the playoffs. I definitely have them over the Clippers or Mavericks if either of those teams happen to beat the Jazz. So, alright, with this game, just a mess right from the get-go. And third quarter, finally the Lakers show some sense of urgency. After my really unstable Wi-Fi cut out that made me end my live stream short, I'm going to have to find somewhere else to watch these games because I swear I can't do it anymore in this house. So yeah, Lakers have 26 points, Suns have 19, but yeah, too little too late now. You already went down way too big at halftime. And LeBron may look really good on the box score, 25-4, 7-14. But I'll tell you one thing he could have done better. He's 2 of 6 from 3. And yeah, that's not a very good 3-point percentage. It may be an amazing batting average, but not a great 3-point percentage. But really, when you have guys who are a lot smaller than you, like Mikal Bridges and Chris Paul, in the post, spin move to the basket. And LeBron's taken 14 shots in this game. You should have at least 20 shots up by now. I don't care if you're shooting under 40%. I'd rather you shoot this team out of the game than be too passive, which is a tendency you tend to have over and over and over. When the going gets tough, you just quit. And that's not what GOATs do. You know, I actually used to think that LeBron was better than Kobe too. You know what though? Forget about that. And I apologize to Kobe sincerely for that. Rest in peace. No, you're not better than Kobe. Did Kobe just lay over like that when the going gets tough? Okay, he may have done so in 06 against the Suns in Game 7. And that time, he almost beat a Steve Nash-led Suns team that was heavily favored to win. Yes, he did blow a 3-1 lead, but he wasn't supposed to win that series anyways. But when else has Kobe ever laid over like that when the going got tough? Tell me. I'll wait. Yeah, I haven't seen it. And someone actually came on to my live stream to tell me that LeBron is better than Jordan when this was what he was doing when the going got tough 2 games in a row. Like, you kidding me? Really? Talk to me when LeBron can win 10 scoring titles, when hand checking is allowed, when you can stand in the paint all day on defense, when there's no restricted area. And I'll give you this. MJ probably wouldn't win Defensive Player of the Year today because of the rules. However, I guarantee you he'd be a lot better on offense. He's got a killer mentality that, I guess LeBron sometimes has, but he doesn't have enough of it. And Kobe had a much better killer mentality. Yes, mentality does matter. Like, I guarantee you that Kobe would not go down like this. Like, Kobe would shoot his team out of the game. 2004 finals Kobe versus 2011 finals LeBron. Yeah, both did really bad and lost their team the series. But Kobe, it was because he shot too much, and LeBron because he passed too much. Which would you rather have? I'd rather have go down shooting too much. You know why? Because when you go down passing, it tells me that you let the moment get to you. Kobe wasn't afraid. He wanted to take over, and it didn't work, but at least he had the mentality of, I want to take over this series, and was never afraid of the moment. And also, another thing, both Kobe and MJ moved without the ball a lot better and didn't just hold on to the ball for like 10 seconds to either attack or just make the assist pass. You know, just the assist pass isn't always the right one. And don't get me wrong, LeBron is still a great passer, but a lot of times he just looks for the assist pass rather than making the right pass because he cares about his stats. And yeah, LeBron may look more efficient than Kobe. Well, okay, he is, but you know what else? Kobe turned the ball over less. better free throw shooter too. And also, like, Dennis Schroeder, like, I'm not just going to blame LeBron, though. That'd be ignorant. I'm not going to take it that far. Dennis Schroeder, 13 points. At least you're not putting up another donut. And KCP, 14 points. Okay, at least you're not also putting up another donut. But at the same time, Dennis Schroeder, you want that big payday, right? Well, you pretty much just showed us that you're a sixth man. You're not worth over $84 million like you think you are. Like, if you really think that you're worth more than $84 million, then you got to do better than this in the playoffs. And after the game gets out of reach, it's not good enough. You had back-to-back really bad games, and then you show up when it's too little too late now. And now there's less than a minute left in the third quarter. Lakers are down 13. Yeah, they're not coming back. I'm just looking at this to look at the stats. That's pretty much it. And yeah, Kyle Kuzma, he was the only one that actually did okay in the last game. But then this game, yeah, so 5 out of 6 games, Kyle Kuzma's been trash. Kyle Kuzma, just 2 points, 1 of 5. And Montrezl Harrell, like, I was aware of your weaknesses when you came. And also your strengths. Like, you're a good finisher around the rim, and you take charges, and you play hard, but you're toast on defense, and you can't space out the floor. And you let Frank Kaminsky own you. Like, really, brah? And Frank Vogel, like, yeah, his rotations have not been good in this playoffs. Like, he's got to be held accountable too. And yeah, trying to figure out rotations while we're in the playoffs is not how to do it. Like, you got to have set rotations going into the playoffs. Like, last year, you were so on point with your rotations. To have Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee not play against the Rockets to match up with their small ball lineup. And then you put them back into their roles when going against Jokic in the conference finals. But this time, you decide to try to figure out your rotations in the playoffs. Like, no, that is just really bad preparation. This is exactly what Tyronn Lue did for this Mavericks series. He made the adjustments, so I will give him credit for that. But the first 2 games, yeah, Tyronn Lue made a really poor mistake of not having set rotations, and Frank Vogel made this mistake too in this series. You cannot just try to figure out your rotations during the playoffs. You got to have them in mind going into the playoffs. It's too late now to try to figure them out now. So, alright, it's not exactly the screaming rant that I thought you may have been hoping for, but yeah, like TCU zigzag or whatever it was. Like, this is when you tell me that LeBron is better than MJ? This is when? And to tell me that Michael Jordan did not play against a lot of talent, like, you clearly do not know the history of the game. Miss me with that. Karl Malone, even though he's a pedophile. Charles Barkley, and by the way, MJ put up 40 points per game against the Charles Barkley MVP season-led Suns team that has 7 guys in double figures, while they were also a very good defensive team. And no, the Bulls were actually not the clear-cut favorites in that 93 finals. And Michael Jordan also defeated the Lakers at the end of the Showtime era, while Magic Johnson was still in his prime. And they still had James Worthy. They were without Kareem. Kareem already retired by then, but they still had Magic and James Worthy. That 91 Lakers team was actually a really good team. I guess they're kind of forgotten about because they weren't one of the Showtime teams that won the championship. And Magic Johnson really shouldn't have had to retire. The thing was that people weren't informed about HIV like we are now. So people thought back then that he could spread the virus through contact. But that obviously happens to not be true, as we know now, because we're more educated. Magic Johnson easily could have still been playing. I mean, he played in the Olympics the very next summer, and he came back in '96, so Magic Johnson very much could have continued to play from that point on and still be a really good player, and the Lakers still would have been a contending team. I wouldn't say they would have won any more championships, but they definitely would have been a contending team. Maybe they would have even gotten back to the finals in '92 if Magic Johnson wasn't forced to retire. And the Jazz, Stockton and Malone, to say that wasn't a good team, like, that's wrong. No. Also, sweeping Shaq and Penny in '96, and he never played against Hakeem Olajuwon in the finals, sure, but Hakeem Olajuwon did play in Michael Jordan's era. And also, Michael Jordan was able to take down the Bad Boys Pistons. Yeah, at first, it was the Bad Boys Pistons that defeated Jordan's Bulls over and over again. And yes, when Scottie Pippen emerged as a star, that did actually help Jordan, but still, Michael Jordan, he didn't lay over when the going got tough and they just couldn't beat the bad boys Pistons. He worked harder to be able to reach that championship level, and you got there. You finally beat them, you finally swept them. And to actually retire while still in your prime, but then come back, and when you came back, scoring 55 on the Knicks, and in that series against Orlando, like I saw in The Last Dance that yeah, he just wasn't in the best shape and did start to crumble late in games, but he still scored 27 points per game on really good efficiency in that series against Orlando. And 96, yeah, you swept them. 72 wins that season. Like seriously, to tell me now that LeBron is better than Michael Jordan, like I'm sorry, no. I wouldn't even take LeBron over Bill Russell, 11-time champion, 5-time MVP. If Defensive Player of the Year existed back then yeah, I would definitely imagine Bill Russell winning at least 5 Defensive Player of the Year awards. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you want to talk about LeBron's longevity? How about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar winning Finals MVP at 38 years old? So, yeah. Alright, I'll take my L for thinking that the Lakers were destined to repeat. Just didn't happen this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make excuses about the short off season though. I'm not going to make excuses for LeBron because if you want me to do that, I'm sorry. Newsflash, you're looking for the wrong Nick. My last name is not right. Okay, I don't fanboy LeBron like you do. In fact, I would rather relive the days when the Lakers were really bad than be a fanboy like Nick Wright, or should I say Nick Wrong is, and be the excuse maker for LeBron and be one of those guys that follows him around wherever he goes. I mean, if you are one of those guys that just really likes a player and you follow your player wherever he goes, like, you do you. I'm not going to stop you. But to me, that just makes it hard for you to hold your guy accountable and defend him even when it's not warranted. And LeBron in this series, like, I'm sorry to say it, but he has to be held accountable, ankle hurt or not. And you can't say that LeBron hasn't lost in the first round anymore. Now he has. And maybe if LeBron actually had a mid-range game, the wall defense would not work. I wonder why teams wouldn't do that to MJ or Kobe or Kevin Durant, because they have mid-range games. So if LeBron actually had a mid-range game, then yeah, the wall defense that the Suns were playing would not be working. Again, credit to the Suns. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not just gonna say that the Lakers lost to a trash team. No, of course. That's not true either. The Suns were the second seed in the West this year. So, of course, the Suns actually deserve to be where they are now. Devin Booker had that inner Kobe in him in this series. But okay. And also, last night I watched a video from Mike Korzemba. I remember listening to him mention how the Lakers actually want to bring back Drummond long term. No. Don't even think about it. Get him out of here. He's an empty stats guy. You wonder why the Pistons and Cavs gave him up for nothing? It's pretty obvious. It should be, at least. The guy's an empty stats guy. All he does is clog the paint, and sure, he gets a lot of rebounds, but it's so much easier to get rebounds in today's NBA. Because guys don't box out anymore. Shoot the ball and then just get back on defense. That's all it is. So, like, his rebounds just really aren't that impressive. And he's such a bad decision maker on both ends of the floor. He's a foul waiting to happen on defense, and he has terrible touch around the rim for a center. Like, please, get him out of here. Even though Montrezl Harrell isn't a good defender either, I would have rather seen him get those minutes that Drummond was getting, because at least I can trust him to play hard every time, and at least he has some touch around the rim and has some resemblance of a post game. Game's not officially over yet, but it's gonna be over. So again, congrats to the Suns. And hey, I just did an unscripted rant for 15 minutes. Hope I didn't do too bad. I hope I didn't bore you guys, even though I may have not screamed as much as you might have wanted me to do so. Perhaps because I already saw my team win multiple championships anyways. But alright, I'm gonna sign off. So yeah, it's over for the Lakers. Hopefully they come back stronger next year. I'm staying right with this team because this is a team I fell in love with when I was 7 years old. But just the effort that the Lakers put up in these last couple games is inexcusable. I don't care that Anthony Davis wasn't healthy. This team needs to show up when it matters and not lay over when the going gets tough. Bye.